Every property investor starts somewhere. If you have been thinking about investing in property but don't know where or how to get started, this video is for you. Maybe you are staying with parents or with a spouse who's already owned a home, and now you are thinking about getting one purely for investment. Or maybe you want your children to learn how wealth or a more secure future is built through property, so that they can start their own journey one day. In this video, I'll walk you through how to get started investing in property the safe way, even if you have never done this before. Hi friends, if you are new to the channel, my name is Kenneth, an ex-police officer with 16 years of real estate experience. I'm here to help you navigate property and investment decisions. And if you are planning your next move and tired of confusing or long-winded content, you are in the right place. Now let's dive in. Now let's start with the foundation. Why property? I'm not going to tell you property is the only way to build wealth, and it's not. And here's what makes it different and why it works especially well in Singapore. First, it's tangible. You can see it, touch it, walk it through, and if you ever need to, you can live in it. Compare that to stock or crypto, numbers on the screen that can disappear overnight. Property don't vanish. Even in downturn, the asset is still there. Second, Singapore is land scarce, and that's not changing. We are about 736 square kilometers. Every piece of land has to serve multiple purposes: housing, industry, green space, infrastructure. And the supply is fixed, demand keeps growing, prices don't collapse. They stabilize, and over the long term, it tends to rise. That's not speculation, that's geography. Third, property is one of the best hedge against inflation. Let me give you a simple example. Kopi used to cost less than $1, now it's $1.40. In 5 years, maybe $1.60 or $1.80 in coffee shop. Now let's watch this video again in 2031 and see if I'm correct. Your grocery will cost more. Your transport will cost more. Everything gets more expensive over time. But here's the thing, so does property. When the cost of living go up, property values and rental income tends to follow. Your mortgage stays the same, but the value of what you own grows with inflation. Cash in the bank, it loses purchasing power every year. Property, it keeps up, sometimes even outpaces inflation. Fourth, property forces you to save. For people like me, leaving too much cash in the bank is dangerous. I can probably find 10,000 ways to spend it. But when money goes to the property, it's locked. You can't impulse buy your way out of it. Every month, your loan gets paid down, whether by you or by your tenant. And that's equity building in the background, even when you are not thinking about it. It is not just an investment, it's discipline. And finally, property is mostly passive once it's set up. You don't need to watch the chart every day. Occasionally, you can monitor your loan. You refinance it when better rates come up. You check in with your tenant once in a while. That's it. Any issue, just handle along the way. I've been a landlord for the past 12 years or so. Just relax. The property does the work. Time does the work. You just need to hold steady. Now, let's come back to you as a property investor. What is your objective? Because not all property investors are the same, your strategy should match your risk tolerance and your timeline. There are three main types of investors, and let me walk you through each one, and then I'll show you which one makes the most sense for beginners. This is the buy low, sell high approach, or if I may, buy high, sell even higher. Your aim is that the property will be worth significantly more in the future. Maybe 3 years, maybe 5 years. Basically, the strategy is to buy, exit fast, and move on to the next property. You need to decide when to enter the market and when to exit. Now let me give you a real example. There's a project in Clementi called Claiborne. One investor bought 1,607 per square foot and sold at 2,175 per square foot. The profit is about 771,000. Another unit, a smaller one, 527 square feet, and was bought at 1,638 per square foot, and that's about 863k. They sold at 2,010 per square foot for about 1.059 million. Profit is about 196,000. Here's the interesting part. In total, there were 140 profitable transactions at Claiborne and 0 unprofitable transactions at the time of recording. That's actually pretty good. So clearly, capital appreciation works if you know what you are doing. But here's the catch. You need to get the right property. Do your research, because not all new launches guarantee profitable returns. And it also depends on the market. If you pick the wrong one, or if the market softens before you can exit, then you are stuck holding a property you can't sell at the price you want, and that may be a problem if you don't have holding power. Anyway, that's an example of buying low, sell high for capital appreciation. The money can be good and fast. Now let's move on to type 2. Now this is more of a slow and steady approach. You buy a property, rent it out, let the tenant pay down your loan. Most people call this rental income, or if you are thinking like a stock investor, it's like earning dividends. Now I'm going to take a bit of time to explain this, because this concept is extremely important if this is your first property investment. You really need to get this right. Now let's say you buy a 1 million condo today. What's the breakdown? You put down 25% as a deposit, and that's 225,000. Now the minimum cash requirement is just 5%, which is 50,000. The other 20% can come from your CPF. So if you have enough in your CPF ordinary account, your out-of-pocket cash is only 50,000. The remaining 75%, and that's 750k, comes from your loan. You borrow over 30 years, and let's use 2.6% as the interest rate for our calculation, similar to HDB interest rate. Now at the time I'm recording this, the interest rates are actually lower, around 1.6%. The rates go up and down, so I'm using 2.6% to give us a buffer, similar as HDB interest rate. So at 2.6% over 30 years, your money repayment is about 3003, and that's not all you need to budget for. There's also stamp duty, that's about 24,000 for 1 million property. Legal fee, roughly 2,500 to 3,000. So your total outlay is about 277,100, a mix of cash and CPF. That's what you need to have ready before you buy. Now come back to the interesting part. Let's use Commonwealth Tower as a real example. Most units there have recently transacted below 1 million, and the recent rental transactions, 3,500. Let's be more conservative and use 3,500 as our baseline rental. So every month, your repayment is 303 and your rental income is 3,500. That's a positive cash flow, roughly 500 a month. You're not just breaking even, you're actually making money while the tenant pay down your loan. Now let's go even deeper. Of that 303 money repayment, about 1602 goes to interest, and that's the bank profit. About 1401 goes to principal, and that's reducing your loan, a form of saving. It is being paid by your tenant. So every month, even though you are not paying anything out of pocket, your equity is growing. Over time, the loan string and your equity grow, and you own an asset that is paying for itself. It is slower, it is less exciting, but it is also much harder to mess up. Now let me give you an idea how you make money. Let's say you keep this property for 5 years and decide to sell. We'll look at 3 possible scenarios. Scenario 1, zero growth. You sell at 1 million, the same price you bought it for. Over 5 years, your tenant has paid down about 88,000 of your loan. So your profit is 88,000 compared to your original outlay of 277. And that's a return of 31% over 5 years. Not bad for zero property growth. Scenario 2, 10% growth. You sell 1.1 million. That's a 100k capital gain plus about 88,000 your tenant down. Total profit is about 188k. That's about 67% return on your original 277,100. Scenario 3, what if the market drops? If you choose the wrong property or the market didn't perform, here's what you do. Don't sell, just hold. Your tenant is still paying your loan. Your equity is growing. Wait for the market to recover. And why holding power is important. Pro tip, if you may, keep 12 to 24 months of your savings, example in your CPF, and not use it for property. Let's say you keep about 36,000 in your CPF OA, and that's about 12 months of your mortgage repayment as a buffer. If you have that cushion, you do not need to panic sell. Now here's something people miss. When you focus on you, you're not gambling on the market. You're creating a system. But people will ask, what is rental for? What if I can't get a tenant? My honest take, you will find a tenant. You might just need to revise your rental expectation. Rental go up, rental come down. If rental fall or interest rate rise, you might need to top up a couple of $100 a month. Take that as a forced saving. As long as the tenant is paying the interest, you are covering the principal. You are still winning. Now let me share a secret with you. People hear 2% property growth per year and they think that's not great. CPF already give me 4%. And here's what they don't understand. A 1 million property at 2% growth is 20,000 a year. But did you put down 1 million? The answer is no. You put down 277,100. It's actually 7.2% return on your money. And that's how leverage works. If you compound that over 5, 10 or even 15 years, that's how real wealth is built, and it's a long-term strategy. It is a system. Now this is what I actually do, and I call it the hybrid approach. You focus on you first, and you are strategic about location. You do extensive research to find properties that are highly rentable and have high potential for growth. Maybe the government announced plan in the neighborhood. Maybe there's a new infrastructure coming, a new MRT line, a new integrated transport hub, a business park, a new school. You see that growth in that area over the next 5, 10 or even 15 years. It is not speculation, it's calculated. Now, it takes more work. You need to do research. You need to understand urban planning, government master plan, tenant demand pattern. I prefer this approach. It's a sure bet. Well, as sure as property investing can be. I'm a low risk person. I play to win, even if it means winning small. I'd rather earn steady rental income while my property quietly appreciates than gamble on flipping and hope I time it right. And that's the hybrid strategy. And if you're a beginner, this is probably the safest path. So now you understand the three types. Which one would you choose? That's up to you. Personally, I use hybrid approach because I'm a risk averse and I like system over speculation. But some investors do very well with capital appreciation and plenty build their wealth through you. The key is to know what fit your risk tolerance, your timeline, and your financial situation. Now, why does this work especially well in Singapore? Let me put your mind at ease about rental demand. Singapore rental is structural. It is not going away. First, foreigners can't buy HDB. It's not easy for them to buy private properties in Singapore. Singapore properties are some of the most expensive in the world. In addition, they face 60% additional buyer stamp duty, and that's 600k additional tax if they're buying a 1 million property. Second, Singapore has no natural resources. People are our resource, and sadly, Singaporeans are not giving enough babies. So the government doesn't have much of a choice but to bring in foreigners to fill in the workforce. So when foreigners come in to work, they need a place to stay. So what do? They rent. The demand is real. So now you understand the three paths in property investing. But before you can choose, you need to answer one question. Can you actually afford it? Your next step, get the loan assessment, find out your budget. Then you can start to look with confidence. And remember what I said at the start, every property investor starts somewhere. Now you know where to start. You may be thinking, maybe it's risky to invest. And I 100% agree with you. If you're not sure what you are doing, you are betting and that's risky. But if you know what you're doing, then it's not risky. I hope this video does just that to get you started understanding the fundamentals. From there, do your own research. Don't 100% depend on your agent. In some cases, their recommendation may not be in your best interest. Always do your due diligence, invest safely. My name is Kenneth and I'll see you next video.